Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Klaasen Chess Invitational. I'm your host, FIDE Master Klaasen, and yeah, it's an exciting program. There's some scintillating matches that we're going to be hosting with a star-studded field. So before we get to the list, I just want to say thank you to all my followers, all my new followers as well. Welcome. Hope you guys enjoy it. And then, of course, I need to also thank a very special person, the lovely lady in my life, Robin. Without you, this all wouldn't have been possible. You've been a big part of this project, so thank you very much. Hope you enjoy it. And right, so let's see. Let us introduce my special guest for today is FIDE instructor, the big boss of ACL, Ruben Salimo. Hi, Ruben.
Hello, guys. Hello, guys.
Welcome to the show. So, how are you feeling about this match? Are you excited?
It's exciting. You know, like we've not had much to do, and this is quite.
All right. There's a bit of a delay, but okay, I get you. So let's take a look quickly at the list of players. Just briefly, so the top seed for the event is International Master Mohammed Henry Steele. I think everybody knows him. Lots of people refer to him as Man of Steel, so definitely a force to be reckoned with. Number 2 is the legend himself, Lion of Africa International Master Watu Kobese. Watu will be quite keen to get onto this event. He will be featuring tomorrow. That's seed number 2. Seed number 3 is our current SA champion, FIDE Master Daniel Barrish, and he's actually participating in today's this afternoon's match. And then seed number 4 is International Master David Klaasen. We all know Klaasen, the first IM of South Africa, as my sources would say. Then number 5 is FIDE Master Paul Klaasen, David's son. Paul Klaasen, also an upcoming young, strong player, so looking out for his matches. Number 6 is FIDE Master Shabir Baudin. Shabir, always ready to pounce as well. Yeah, I think any tournament with Shabir in is an exciting one. Number 7 is Michael James. Michael James, I mean, everybody knows what he's capable of. He can beat any guy on the day, so also a very strong player as the second last seed in the event. I think this already shows what this event can do. And then the last seed, last but not least, is Mr. Kleinsmidt, Cherwin Kleinsmidt. He's also playing today's match. He will be taking on FIDE Master Daniel Barrish. Ruben, what do you think about this lineup?
Yeah, the lineup is very strong and also interesting players. Very strong on blitz too. And I can't see like anyone I can strike there in terms of their strength and ability. Yeah, so this is going to be exciting and tough matches. There's a clear.
All right, Ruben, I'm going to need you to just speak up a bit louder if you can, but I will also turn down the music a bit as soon as the matches start. In fact, let's just go through. So today's match, the first match, I think it's a very nice one to start off with. It's between Cherwin Kleinsmidt and the reigning SA champion Daniel Barrish. And let's quickly take a look at the player profiles very briefly. So Cherwin Kleinsmidt may be the lowest rated player in the field, but in 2017 he won the SA Closed B section and has a notable number of player scalps in the last 2 years. Always full of energy at the board, he is definitely a potential upset to any player in this event. Right, and then let's take a look at Daniel Barrish, FIDE Master Daniel Barrish, freshly crowned SA Close champion, definitely put his imprint on the South African chess scene by winning the prestigious event in 2019. This was this last December. Daniel has shown a sharp rise in the past 2 years and shows no signs of slowing down. So there you have it, Ruben. I'm very excited. I've been waiting for this matchup. And you know what? I've seen these two guys play at the last official event that Western Province had for the seniors, the open event, Western Province Open. And Daniel actually won that event, but I think he had 2 draws in the event. He drew against Cherwin. That was one of his draws, and it was quite a tough match. In fact, I know the other game he drew was against myself. But yeah, it was a tough fight. So I think these two guys have something to sort out today.
Yeah, I mean, the test Cherwin has always been a player who, in a tournament, who cause an upset. But the trick will be, can you maintain it over a match conditions and be consistent? Because I think that's where the fundamental difference lies in that. Daniel is a prepared player. He's got the discipline to focus on certain openings and prepare for his openings. Whereas I think Cherwin hasn't had that experience in this kind of match, and that might work.
All right, okay, so that's a nice detailed description of the two players. Thank you, Ruben. I can always count on you to dissect the players and the tournament situation. So let's now have a quick chat with the players. So Daniel and Kleins and Cherwin, can you please just unmute your mics? Let's get some audio from the players. Right, right, I can hear you, Cherwin, and I can hear you, Daniel, as well. So, how are you guys feeling?
Excited.
I'm feeling good.
I didn't hear you, Cherwin. Daniel is excited. What did you say, Cherwin?
I'm feeling good now.
Okay, lovely. So I've got a question for you guys. So what did you guys do? Not to reveal anything, but what did you guys do to prepare for this event? Maybe just physical, did you just rest, or did you go through any lines, or what? Let's start with Cherwin. Cherwin, what did you do?
Okay, I went to do a few lines that Daniel played previously for some of his games. Actually, just to see what he's playing and what is his opening repertoire. And then, yeah, I've been relaxing mostly, watching movies and so.
Okay, interesting prep there. And Daniel, what did you do?
I haven't been doing anything too specific, to be honest. I've just been working my chess in general for the last couple of weeks. I looked at some lines today, but other than that, it's also pretty, a lot of just...
Okay, so just the normal routine for you then. Ruben, do you perhaps have...
They're better suited for after the match for preparation.
Of course. That's why I said that perhaps...
But more for the...
Yeah, definitely. So, Ruben, do you have any questions before we get to the arena?
I mean, like, obviously, like, our culture here in Africa is we never play matches. So, did you guys think about the idea that you're going to be playing a match and it's a bit different from playing one round?
Let's start with Daniel. This time. What do you say, Daniel?
I think it's a nice change of pace, really, to play a match rather than different players every single round. So it's nice to prepare for one single player and then play a whole number of games against them. It's different. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think I can also add to that, Daniel. We don't have a lot of these knockout tournament events in South Africa. I remember when I was a youngster just starting to play chess, I grew up in Somerset East, played tournaments in Port Elizabeth, and Eastern Province had this EP closed where they actually had knockout matches, and that sounded amazing at the time. I was too young to participate in it, but that just sounded great. So I thought I'd start with something like this. I don't know of any other knockout event really. So very interesting one. Cherwin, how do you feel about this format or this tournament format?
Look, Cherwin, this is my first knockout event that I'm playing. I haven't played any knockout events before. So basically for me, it's almost the same as the World Cup knockout.
Lovely.
So it's similar to those events, and I'm quite fascinated by this event.
Okay, great stuff. So, guys, any last questions before we get going from the players? I will explain the format. Okay, let me just explain the format to everybody again, and then you guys can ask your last questions. So, to the viewers out there, it's a 10-game match. There will be 2 rapids being played, 2 10-10 games, no increment for that time control. We might take a small breather after the first rapid, but definitely after the second one, we'll have a 5-minute break. We'll take a look at the scores and so on. And then after that, we will continue with 4 games of 3.1, 3 minutes and 1 second increment aside. 4 of those games, and then we're going to take another 5-minute breather. And then after that, sorry, my mistake. It's 5 minutes and 1 second increment for after the 10-10, and then after that we'll have a 5-minute break again with 4 games of 3.1 each. So it's 2 10-10s, 4 games of 5.1, and another 4 games of 5.1. Thank you, Kombolo, for following. Welcome. Okay, guys. So before we get going, we're about to start. Before we get going, just if you like what you're seeing, guys. If you haven't signed up by now, just go on to Twitch, sign up, it's for free. Follow me on Cherwin Kleinsmidt Chess. You will get all the notifications whenever we go live. And there's many other benefits that will come your way as well as soon as you follow. So, right. Thank you very much, Ali, for following. Okay, so now from the player side, any questions before we start?
Not really, no.
Cherwin, are you
No
okay?
questions on my side.
All right, guys. So what I'm going to ask is that you guys end your Skype calls with me now, and then we will join you later on.
Okay.
During the breaks, we can try to reconnect again.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So thanks, guys. So get ready for your match. And then, guys, what we will be doing, what I will be doing from my side, is I will be calling Cherwin and Daniel via a WhatsApp video call now. I'll be doing a dual chat, and just to keep an eye on both players, just like in the Magnus Carlsen invitation, usually the players shouldn't leave the board. So let's do that. And it seems like the players have already started, so let's go to the arena. And it's a Sicilian, and who's got the white pieces? Cherwin's got the white pieces. And it's a Sicilian Khan, definitely one of Daniel's favorites. Sicilian Khan. Cherwin goes with the G3 system. He used this as well in the Western Province Open. Okay, so there seems to have been a big delay over there. Let's see, is Cherwin still thinking over there? Ruben, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, there's some delay, but okay, so we've got the fianchetto variation going over here. Hi Daniel, it's 10-10 straight. I'm just going to add Cherwin to this call, and then I'm going to mute the call.
Okay. Should we restart then, or?
I think maybe you guys can restart because there's some delay.
Okay.
Okay guys, so we've got a massive delay over here. Let's try to sort it out. I'm calling the two players. They got a bit ahead of time here. No increment, Cherwin. Okay, so just restart, take a draw or something, then you can restart. I'm gonna mute the WhatsApp call right now. Or you can just let me know when you're ready, and then we all three mute our WhatsApp calls. Okay, let's just sort out Ruben over here. Ruben seems to be...
Okay, here we go.
Okay guys, so I'm gonna mute the mic my side. You should also mute yours.
I'm gonna shut it off now.
Yeah.
Okay guys, so we're just sorting things out here. Just give us a moment guys to sort this out. Okay guys, so we're having some technical difficulties. Let us just please be patient with me. I'm just going to get our game back online. The game has started again. All right, Ruben, can you still hear me? Okay, so I think I'm having problems here with my getting back onto lead chess. So let me just phone you back and try to get the game going, and then I'll reconnect with you on Skype. All right, talk to you just now. Okay, seems like I've got the game here. Just hang on. Ruben, can you end the call, please? Okay, guys, it seems like we've got the game going now. Let's see if everything is sorted out. Let's just reload. Bit of a slow start here. Let's just get things going again. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is I am going to quickly just take 5 minutes break, and try to sort this out, and we'll be back just now. Okay, let's see if things are working properly now. So we've got an isolated pawn here in the middle. White played queen to d1. And the player with the black pieces is Cherwin Kleinsmidt right now. Okay, so we're trying to get things going now again. For now, we have lost Ruben for the moment. Black looks like he played some Slav, but we're going to get to that now. Queen takes d3, the knight snaps off the bishop. Okay, so this is the rapid, guys, and things are going a bit slow over here. So white plays a4. Let's see, what is Barrish doing here with the white pieces? He's maybe planning on playing bishop to a3, knocking the queen on d6. That could be a potential threat. Black goes h6, and I can see also Barrish playing rook f to d1, just applying some pressure over there. And white's play looks very natural. Black, Cherwin is saying, okay, I don't mind bishop a3. He'll probably also put his rook over there eventually. So interesting position from the get-go. So the exchanges happen. So guys, I'm just trying to get Ruben back on here. But for now, let's just keep an eye on the game. So there's a very nice knight on d4. Both knights are aiming at d4. So seems like white has got a good grip on the center. So a6 and white, probably, I don't know, I like white in this position. Black needs to look for dynamic play, otherwise in the long run his isolated pawn will just be a problem. So black needs to think about knight e4, perhaps doubling up, creating something down here. I don't know what. And then potential bishop here on b7, the bishop on b7 potentially being a bad piece. Yeah, it's looking very tight here for black. I'm not sure about it. Okay, so let's try to get things going here with Ruben. Let's try Ruben one more time. So queen to d4, and the d4 square is always whites to handle. Yeah, and you can also see the queen eyeing g7 with the help of the knight. There's some problems over there. He was actually threatening knight takes h6. So yeah, Daniel in charge here at the moment. Skype is seemingly giving me some problems here, guys. Okay, so we're missing some action over here. What happened on this side? Let's see. So queen e6, knight takes g7 was played, king takes, knight h5, brilliant tactics here by Barrish. Knight h5, check, the knight is pinned, of course. King f8 and knight takes, and white is won a pawn, the king is open, and it's still not looking like that bishop is going to have any influence on the game. Okay, it sounds like we might have Ruben on the line. Ruben, can you hear us? Hi, Ruben, can you quickly end the call for me, please? Okay, so let's see. Back to the game. Okay, so we've lost Ruben for now. We'll try to get him back. So black is defending over here. White is just casually improving his pieces. The two rooks. Maybe it's just rook d1 eventually. White would like to get. Let's see. Black is trying to hold on. Obviously, he's waiting for a miracle. Barrish is a bit low on time. Barrish is a minute down on the clock over here. You'll see that his rating has a question mark next to it, so it seems like he hasn't been playing any rapid games online. We'll check his blitz rating out later on. So knight e3 is just reconvening with the knight. Maybe the knight should go to f4 later on. And black needs to find some activity. Black, okay, Cherwin plays a nice aggressive move. Queen g6, eyeing the g2 pawn. Bishop on b7 might just show its flair eventually with a move of like d4 showing up. Maybe Daniel should think about playing f3. Whoa, rook to d1, d4 threatening mate. What is white gonna do? I don't know if Daniel should have allowed that. Maybe Daniel should have played pawn to f3 a bit earlier on. Knight to e1, defending g2. Okay, so Cherwin has got some life at least in the game. Maybe he can even push the pawn. There's a pin down here. His rook is hanging, so he can't capture. But there's something in it now. I thought that Daniel would just squeeze the life out of this position. And I will just add here, guys, or you can see in the stream, in fact, that Daniel is divine intervener and Cherwin is showy too. So if you want to check it out on Leeches as well, you can also do that. It's already an interesting start to the match. Okay, so rook to e6. Cherwin might be thinking about playing rook to f6, and then there will be a lot of pressure on that knight. In fact, that might be a deadly threat. So Barrish under a bit of pressure, surprisingly, with only a minute and 20 seconds left. No increment in the first two games, guys. So obviously White wants to just swap off. Rook to g6, knight e5. So White got what he wanted. He got the exchange, and now I think things are fizzling out over there. Seems like black is losing the plot over there. d3 is hanging. White can also just stabilize with f3 at any moment. I think f3 will seal it. So not looking good for Cherwin for the first game. So rook to e6, but I think Cherwin is just playing on over here. Anything can happen with this, no increment. Nice move, knight b2, just covering d1, and White welcomes more exchanges. Okay, and this rook endgame is completely busted here, so let's just see if the SA champ can see this through with the time that he has. Should be easy, just get the king closer. He's got extra pawns. Black rook is so passive, can't really do anything. King d4 perhaps, king f3 back, anything will work. So maybe just start pushing his pawns as well. f5 and king f4, and then even try to get rid of his double pawn. e5 is coming, rook c7 is a possibility, and yeah, I think this is it. So now just finishing the job. 2 pawns standing in front of the black king, so back rank is extremely weak. Rook e5. Let's see, Cherwin is still testing the and Daniel misses the checkmate in 1. Just time jitters now, just to finish it off. And that's mate. Okay, let me try to get hold of the guys quickly. Let's try to get hold of the guys. Hi Cherwin, kan jy net die video call aanhou, mute jou mic. Ek moet julle albei sien. Ek gaan gou vir Daniel ook kry op die call.
The mic is mute.
Ja, jy moet ook jou mic mute.
Okay. That is it.
Hi Daniel, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, right. So both of you, I just need to see you at all times during the game. So yeah, just mute your mic. I'm going to mute my mic here as well, and then you guys can start whenever you are ready. This is your second rapid that you're going to start now, right? Say again?
Is the mic already muted or can you not hear me?
I can hear you. It's not muted yet.
Okay.
Okay, but the main thing is that you can't hear me. So yeah, I'm going to mute my mic right now, and you guys can start whenever you're ready. Good luck. Can you guys hear me? All right, great. All right, everybody. So I've got Daniel and Cherwin on a video call right now. And so I can keep an eye on both of them, just like at the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. Players are not allowed to get up from their seat for all practical reasons. So here we go. This is a nice fast one. The second one, Cherwin going for his favorite G3 system here, just like at the Western Province Open. Knight Ge7, interesting. Black wants to swap off the one knight for the other. So Knight C6 is coming after this exchange. Queen, where does the queen go? Let's see where Cherwin puts his queen. Queen to D3 looks solid. It might be bothered at some point. Daniel probably should just play bishop E7 or maybe D6 and develop. Yeah, okay, so bishop C5 looks more aggressive. This looks interesting. So it's a pity we don't have Ruben right now with us. I think the Skype was interfering with our stream, so to speak. So we need to sort out that technical difficulty. But for now, I will keep you guys going. And we will try to get Ruben during the mini breaks, or maybe, yeah, and then we can get his thoughts on the match. So black needs to decide how to continue with these 2 pawns on e4 and c4. d5 is extremely possible, especially with the white's bishop on g2. b5 is also difficult. Sorry. So yeah, black needs to find a plan. b6 for bishop b7. a3, white wants to push the bishop. Okay, I'm not getting that arrow right. White wants to push the bishop. So what does black do? Usually with this structure, White doesn't really want to play b4 unless it is very dynamically pleasing, because eventually black will put the rook on c8, and then the c4 pawn is going to be difficult to defend in the long run. Bishop d4 looks like a nice active move by black. And just for everybody, all the viewers, we are only playing 2 rapid games, 2 10-10 games, and compared to the other time controls where we will be playing 4 games each, 4 5.1 games and 4 3.1 games. So the 2 rapid games, because they are longer as well, we will, for the point system, we will be using different weights for the score. So for each rapid win, it is 2 points, and the draw would then be 1 point. Welcome B333 ZA for following. Thank you for following. Thank you very much. So King H1 Cherwin is maybe thinking about playing F4 at some point. Black will probably just finish his development, yes. Bishop e3, trying to get rid of black's strongest piece at the moment. That makes sense. So black accepts. Okay, so white's got more space. Black probably would put his pawns on the dark squares in the long run. He would like to do that, but his d6 pawn could end up being weak on d6. So black needs to think things carefully through here now. If white gets a lot of time, then white could potentially get a lot of pressure on the d file, and he could also potentially play f4 with a kingside attack. So thank you, pawn. Wonderful following. Welcome. B333ZA. Is it bizarre or something? I played you at the DSK Rapid. Oh, okay. Are you saying that you played me at the DSK? That sounds interesting. Welcome everybody to the stream. We're watching Cherwin Kleinsmidt versus the current SA champion Daniel Barrish. This is game number 2 of the Rapids. There will be 2 rapid games, 5.1 games, 5 minutes 1 second increment, and 4 games of 3 minutes and 1 second increment. So Barrish going for the C pawn that I mentioned earlier could be a potential target. And both these guys are using their time moderately. So time-wise, it's quite even. Barrish took the first game with a nice tactical explosion on the king side during the middle game in the previous game. So Cherwin needs to bounce back. Okay, Biza. Okay. All right, welcome, Biza. Hope you enjoy the match. So this seems like a critical moment for Cherwin. He needs to figure out what to do. C4 is hanging. What can we do? Maybe we can play Queen E2. Like I mentioned earlier, this playing of A3 and B4 kind of weakens the C4 square. So now B3 isn't even possible. With the pawn, if the A pawn was on A2, then B3 would be a very natural move to play. But in this instance, white already has some problems, and we can already see after Queen D2, black may be playing Rook C8 or Queen C7 with some big problems in the white camp, potentially. And another possibility for this knight is sometimes to jump in here and onto the d4 square if he can manage to arrange a pawn on e5. So white is potentially weak on the dark squares because a lot of his pawns are on the white squares. And okay, nice. So white goes in for a bit more dynamic play. He's not willing to just defend. c5. Knight c4 is a possibility. Pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn. Then rook c8 perhaps. No, pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn, and then this could be an issue. Forking c5 and a1. Is this doable? Let's see. What else can white play after pawn takes pawn? Pawn takes pawn, okay. So let's see. A queen takes c5. Knight b3. Does white have anything? Can white perhaps play queen b4, hit the bishop on b7, and after knight takes a1? Take the bishop. Can the knight get out of trouble? The knight can then go to c2, and maybe if he can reach d4, that's the big question. Can the knight escape if black goes in for the sequence? So of course white needs to first calculate it, so that's the advantage for black. Daniel is basically saying, okay, I can fork you if you take on c5. There's some slight complications, but it's in white's hands right now if he's going to initiate it. Of course black just captured white's pawn, so something needs to be done. Both the guys look quite focused on the video call I've got here, and Cherwin decides to lash out with b4. He realizes that queen takes pawn might not be possible. Very interesting indeed. So what now? So black captures, take back, knight c6, and b4 is hanging. Black is a pawn up. b5. So I think white has accepted the fact that he's a pawn down and is looking now for some activity. There's some hole over there. I don't know if he can utilize it. Black could be slightly vulnerable on the dark squares, but I'm not sure if it's enough for white to claim equality. If white could get in a move like e5, that could be dangerous, unleashing the bishop and keeping a grip on the dark squares. So bishop a6, that seems sensible because that bishop was potentially going to end up being not so nice. So black trying to activate his bishop, pinning the knight. So right now, unpinning with this rook seems impossible. Or possible maybe, because after capture the rook, you can't capture back immediately because a1 will be hanging. But then white could potentially take over there. So Cherwin instead plays queen c5. The knight's still pinned. So slightly awkward here for white. Slightly awkward. Okay, so black decides to capture. Just simplify, he is a pawn up. And Daniel going for the simplification, queen f6. And of course he is now planning on activating his rook somewhere as well. He's hitting the rook on a1. So pressure on the d7 pawn. Not a bad move, but now f2 is also hanging. So I can see something like queen takes f2, and if rook takes d7, then the knight should also enter, and the knight is going to cause lots of problems in the long run. So it seems like Cherwin is in trouble over here. Knight e5, the back rank is also weak. Maybe knight e5, hitting the rook. Does white have anything here after knight e5? It doesn't seem like it. Queen E1 check, he decides to give an in-between check first. Queen F1, and of course the exchanges favor black. I think Daniel can just safely swap off and play knight e5, and then it's just a matter of technique. Okay, the 3 versus 4 does pose some problems. Black is only 1 pawn up, but still with this isolated pawn, it seems very difficult. But Daniel trying to keep the pieces on the board. Maybe he shouldn't have checked in the first place. I would have preferred playing knight e5 without giving the check. So White's just making sure everything is okay on the back rank. Knight finally gets to e5. The knight looks good on e5. It's untouchable if you consider the g2 bishop. All that black needs to do is make sure that his king is safe at the back. No back rank issues. And basically if black can activate his rook, then white is in big trouble. So black needs to activate his rook without allowing any funny business on the back rank. So Daniel taking a bit of time over here. I guess he wants to make sure he secures. When you have the advantage, sometimes it's easy to let it slip by making a few inaccurate moves. So Daniel is making sure that he secures his advantage. He's got an extra pawn, and now he's giving himself a strong knight on e5. Cherwin going with some dynamic play, completely justifiable. He needs to somehow create some problems for black. So he saw a weakness. e6 is a potential weakness. Queen d2, let's see. So white scouting for entry points. Maybe queen d6. I think queen d6 could be a possible way to enter. But after the exchanges, black can simply play rook e8 and king f7. So I think white is basically just getting himself ready for anything, any opportunities. The e4 square is also, the e4 pawn is also quite weak. Knight to f3. Seems like the knight and queen, the black knight and queen is doing everything in this match. The rook on f8, not yet part of the game. Okay, the knight leaps back, and now perhaps Barrish has e5 in mind. If he could get that setup going, the knight is also controlling a lot of light squares around him. The knight is basically going to be standing on a dark square and controlling all the light squares, and Cherwin, of course, snuffs it out. He can't allow black to play e5, so he plays e5 himself. And Cherwin at least doing his best here, even being down a pawn for most of the game here. But I must say, he's doing an excellent job. Barrish is almost down to a minute with no increment. Okay, pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn. Queen c6 check, and this seems dangerous. Knight to f3, so the knight is pinned. What's going on here? Here's chaos on the board. Is this a good move by Barrish? He's low on time. He's got 50 seconds on the clock. Cherwin has got a whole 2 minutes left, and Cherwin is sensing some blood over here. He's snuffing some blood because it seems like the knight is in trouble. Rook f1 perhaps coming. Soon as rook f1 hits, might be a problem. Maybe Barrish should play e4 right now. e5. Thinking about e4. Yes, there it comes. Is there any back rank problems? No, there aren't any back rank problems. After bishop takes knight, queen takes check. So rook c1, queen b7. Does white have anything over here? Has no check. b3 is covered. Looks like Barrish is consolidating, but he's got 28 seconds on the clock. Rook to c3, hitting the knight. Ah, okay. Check, rook c1 back perhaps. Queen b7, and looks like Barrish is offering a repetition. And Cherwin does not accept the repetition. He is playing for the win. He sees that Barrish has a little time on the clock, so especially with no increment, I think that's a good decision. He wants to equalize. Barrish has picked up the first one in the rapid. He's got 2 points on the board, so Cherwin trying to equalize. And he gets his pawn back, but okay, and black decides to swap off everything. I thought he was winning a rook, but not. It's an equal king pawn endgame. Are there going to be any draw offers? Is Cherwin going to play on? Black offers draw. No, there's a decline. And what now? 11 seconds on the clock. Doesn't seem like white has any big swindle here unless he moves back with his king. Seems like it's going to be some repetition. Seems like it's going to be a draw, guys. And it was a draw. Okay, guys, can you hear me? Can you unmute your mics, please? So let's have a chat. Let's have a chat with the players. Can you guys maybe try to do a Skype call quickly? Just an audio call. So I'm gonna just mute this for now. Can you also do the same so we don't have to quit the WhatsApp call? Cherwin, just mute your WhatsApp call as well. So guys, let's just try to get the players on Skype again. So Barry's doing great there just to consolidate and get the draw. So he's got a lead. Now let's just get the guys on Skype quickly.
Hello?
Hi Daniel, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, cool. So now let's just get Cherwin also. Thank you for following, guys. Let's just get Cherwin on the call as well. Just hang on, Daniel.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Salimo, for hosting my stream. Fantastic. Okay, so we're calling up Cherwin now as well, guys. We're taking a breather because of the first time control is done. Thank you very much for following, everyone. Let's just wait for Cherwin here. We're calling Cherwin. Cherwin, can you hear us? Cherwin, can you please switch off your video? It's just an audio call. Because we're already having some technical problems with Skype, so let's keep it to an audio call. So can both of the players hear me right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope it's also audible for everybody, all the viewers. So so well done, Daniel, for taking the rapid part of it. What do you have to say about the first two games?
Interesting, very tight games. Let my tongue get down too low in both of them, but need to play faster.
Yeah, so your second game, it seemed like you were in control there as well, and then your time kind of caught up with you.
Yeah.
So
try and bail for a draw quickly.
Yes, so you managed to secure that at least. So you did well at the end of the day there with that. But luckily now for the following time controls, there will be a 1 second increment, so you can kind of hang on the cliff a bit longer. Yeah. Okay, Cherwin, tough one, Daso. What can you tell me, Cherwin? How do you feel about the first two games? Cherwin, can you hear me? Guys, let's just try to get Cherwin going here again. Cherwin, can you hear us? Don't mute your mic for this, Cherwin. I can't hear you right now. Right, Cherwin, can you say something? Okay, guys, we're struggling to get Cherwin on the line here. Let me just try to talk to him via WhatsApp. Cherwin, kan je mij horen? Okay, so now I need to try to contact Cherwin via WhatsApp. Seems to be slightly unavailable. So Daniel, I'm just going to cancel this WhatsApp call for now and just message Cherwin.
Okay, cool.
Let's call Cherwin on WhatsApp. Hi Cherwin, het jy probleme op Skype? Well, okay. All right. So Cherwin, can you tell us what's your thoughts on the first two games?
The first game was a bit tough. I don't know how I landed there. Somehow I just lost it there. But the second game I think I played alright.
Kan jy net jou Skype gou mute daarso? Kan jy jou Skype mute want daar's feedback wat ek hoor. Okay, great. Ja, ek hoor nog steeds feedback. Okay, Cherwin, so ons gaan binnekort begin, né? Kry net die volgende challenge reg. 5 minutes in 1 second increment. Ons kan begin so oor 2 minute, 3 minute. Okay. Bye. So okay, guys, let's just take a look. Daniel, you can stay with me if you want to. Let's just take a look. Let's just take a look at the scoreboard. Okay, so guys, as you can see, after the first two rapid games, Cherwin Kleinsmidt is on 1 point with that draw on the second game. He actually did quite well. Excellent job to get something from that game because he was behind. And then Daniel Barrish leading the match with 3 points. So the score is 1-3 right now, and Barrish is off to quite a nice start. First game was quite dominating, and the second one also looked good for Daniel, but time pressure and a bit of issues over there. Cherwin actually being quite tough as well. Ended up in a draw in the second game. So the score is 1-3, and from now on, every game will count as 1 point. All right. So Daniel, how are you guys looking there? Are you ready to go for the next one?
Okay, I'll stand now 1 second. 5 plus 1, yeah?
5 plus 1, yes. And let's just reconvene on WhatsApp video call, and then you can end the Skype call.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so you can end the Skype call. I'm gonna end it, and then I'll get you on WhatsApp call. Okay, guys. So we're gonna do a the 5 minutes plus 1 second increment time control right now. I'm just getting Cherwin on WhatsApp video call, and let me get Daniel Barrish as well. Cherwin, just hang on. I'm gonna get Daniel on the call as well. So tough one, also Cherwin. Maybe you can bounce back now with the 5 minute games. You did excellent, actually, to get back in that second game. So are both of you ready, or you still need a minute to breathe? Okay. Okay, so let's mute the mics. Just remember to keep the screen on yourself, and as soon as you guys are ready, we can get going. Back to the tournament, back to the arena. Okay, so now the 5 minute section is starting, and the guys are off to a quick start. Who's playing with the black pieces? Cherwin is playing with the black pieces. He's playing his Slav defense over here, B5, typical stuff. Barrish played Queen C2, one of the main lines. A6, and this already seems like a fighting opening from both sides. Both guys willing to go in swinging. So let's see what's going to happen. Cherwin needs to bounce back as the score is now 3-1. So black going very aggressive with C5. I think black should play aggressively in these type of lines. If he's too slow, then white can just run over him with moves like E5 or even D5 sometimes. Okay, so white has a decision to make here. I think white has two decisions. White can either play E5, or white can even go D5 sometimes in these type of structures and kind of sacrifice a pawn. Black doesn't want to accept the pawn because the files are opening up, and white decides to capture on C5. I did not expect that. So taking on C5, knight is very greedy to capture the bishop. White is a bit ahead in development. Black still needs to get his bishop out, and he still needs to castle. So black can capture the bishop, but he needs to still sort out the kingside development. So after knight takes, rook takes, perhaps queen c7, I'm thinking. And maybe it's halfway through the match. So after the next two games, I'll switch over to watching the games from Daniel's side. We've been following Showy 2 here, which is Cherwin. So we've been looking at his games from his point of view, but halfway through the match, which is after 2 games, we can switch over to Daniel's bird's eye view. So Queen E2, just unpinning the knight, so to speak. B4, black going very aggressive here. Where's the knight going? Maybe to A4. Knight A4. If the knight goes to D1, he can always go to E3 at some point, but that looks super slow. Knight A4, is Knight A4 possible? There's some pressure on the E4 pawn. If Knight A4, okay, the pawn is actually perhaps dropping here, and Barrish comes up with a very interesting move, knight to D5. So inviting black to capture the knight. White. This looks very strong. Let's see. It takes check, and then bishop E7 will run into the pawn running forward. So after pawn takes knight, pawn takes pawn, check. Queen E7 is also not possible because of rook E3, so the king is going to have to be stuck in the middle. Black's going to have to play something like king d8. That doesn't look good. It doesn't seem like a good decision for black to capture the knight with the pawn. But the queen is also hanging, so black is in a spot of bother here. Knight D5 maybe came as a big surprise to black. Black playing very aggressively, and I would say if knight D5 was not there, black maybe would have got what he wanted. But white taking none of that. White really playing on principle. Yeah, trying to punish black for not developing his king side and not castling early. So it seems like a reasonable strategy here. White also, I can also see white developing very quickly, perhaps with the rook, with bishop out and rook to C1, or doubling up on the D file depending on the situation. So black soaking up the time here, and he might as well, because this is already a critical moment. If he just captures with his eyes closed, he might just be busted very quickly. So black really needs to make a hard decision what to do. If he does not capture the knight, what else? The queen, where can the queen go? I don't think the queen can go many places. Bishop to F4 is another big threat. The knight protecting that square, and the bishop will be eyeing that square with the knight. So big problems for Cherwin early on in this game. Not a good start for him. And shout out to Ruben for joining us at the beginning. Ruben, if you are listening, please just be available to maybe join us during the middle of the match, or perhaps even after the match, where we can just discuss the match. So please don't go away. I'd still like you to rejoin us in the studio. Dion Barrish is playing with the white pieces right now. His name is, his Liche's handle name is Divine Intervener. Okay, so black decided on queen c4. Is the queen safe on c4? White's queen is also eyeing the queen over there, so I can see something like, isn't... Okay, so white can win the queen with knight takes check, pawn takes knight, and rook d8 check. But there's a small sneaky little trap by black. After capturing over there, if white captures the queen, then black could potentially go for mate, but the queen can still drop back to f1. So that would be probably just exchanging a lot of pieces. Surely white has more than that than just exchanging. Black's position looks very suspicious to me. Now it's all about just finding a useful useful developing move here for white. B3 is a possibility. B3 looks interesting. What is black threatening over here? Black is threatening queen takes e4. So e4 is hanging. So Cherwin coming up with something over here. But queen takes e4 now. Queen takes e4 doesn't work because of knight. Commentator's curse. Yeah, I don't see anything. So we can get rid of the one defender, but then we just open up the other defender. The bishop can also defend over there. So definitely giving Barrish something to think about. Cherwin yet again in trouble, giving Daniel a lot to think about. And Daniel is almost down to a minute. For this time control, guys, we've got a 1 second increment. So b3 pops up. That looks quite logical, and then white can even just develop with bishop b2. So now what I discussed earlier, is queen takes e4 possible? Queen takes e4. So I guess we can just swap off. That's another way of looking at it, just swapping off. And then we have a check over there. And it seems like we just pick up the exchange. White just picks up the exchange. And doesn't seem like black has much after that. So white is inviting black to capture on e4. Black doesn't seem to have many options here. Where else is the queen going to run off to? Queen takes e4. He goes in for the bait. Of course, he will get one pawn for the exchange. But now the first check, I was thinking about exchanging queens, but checking on c7 and just developing. White declining the exchange of queens makes perfect sense and a beautiful idea here. Bishop c5 and the king is mated. Sure. Lovely attack there by Barrish. Let's check the rematch. But beautiful attack there by Barrish. The attack starting with knight to d5. Scintillating attack there by the white pieces. So, Cherwin starting off with e4 and Barrish playing a center counter and then dropping back to d8. So these guys playing quite fast over here at the beginning stages. Let's update our score over here. Alright, so let's see. So black gave up his bishop for the knight on f3. Usually you look for, when you look at these structures, c6, and e6 and so on, typical Caro-Kann structures and center counter structures. Welcome Lontas, thank you for following. Then black usually tries to get rid of the light squared bishop because he could end up being a bad bishop. So it seems like black is not minding to swap off his bishops. The bishop on b4 also threatening to capture the knight. Okay, so knight to d5 played. And Cherwin says he wants to keep the pieces on the board. Maybe c3 is possible. F takes e3 seems quite reasonable to me. Yeah, that looks kind of nice. Yes, opening up the f file. The knight has some possibilities over here in the future. The bishop is also strong on this diagonal. So I think white has a very interesting position over here. Maybe if he could double up or include his other rook, maybe some rook left. Rook f4, rook f3. Or maybe rook f3, rook g3. Was aiming at knight g5, by the way, and black comes back to stop that. So sometimes in these type of positions, I often I don't like the looks of this for black sometimes defending, because I can just envision myself playing someone like Watu Kobese, and immediately the first thing I'm thinking is rook takes f7. You know, I've played quite a few games with Watu, and he's one of his favorite lines is that bishop c4 Southern variation against the Sicilian Najdorf, and there's lots of variations where rook takes f7 comes into play. So not saying that it works here. Let's see, rook takes f7, rook takes f7, bishop takes e6. Surely black can hold. Can he? Rook takes f7, rook takes f7, bishop takes e6, threatening the rook. Maybe just g6. G6. But then after g6, we can capture the rook check and then come in queen takes a7. Maybe not g6. And if queen e8, we can play rook f1. So maybe, just maybe, my joke or suggestion could be a possible move here. Can it be, guys? Is rook takes f7 a real threat or a real move in this position? Rook f7, what does black play? Rook takes f7, bishop e6. I'm missing something here. Maybe Cherwin is also looking at this because he's taking up quite a chunk of his time over here. Almost a 2-minute difference on the clock. Rook takes f7 on the board. We see some fireworks. Cherwin coming to the party. Let's see how the SA champion is going to respond. So some of my fears that I was explaining in the position, well, on the light squares, this bishop that we spoke about is really becoming very influential here. The knight is also ready to pounce and attack that same f7 square. So black is going to have to defend accurately over here. I don't see him not capturing on f7. What is he going to do if he doesn't capture on f7? White is ready to double up. So what black accepts. Bishop takes e6. So queen f7 is the threat, or bishop takes f7. What does black do? Okay, queen to e8 as expected, and now I'm thinking of rook to f1. But is rook f1 possible? After rook f1, can't black just play knight to f6? Maybe that's the solution for black. Maybe that's the solution for black. Does white have anything else besides rook f1? Doesn't seem like it. Maybe black just holds the piece, and that is it. Okay, so rook f1, knight f6, knight to g5. No, but the queen is hanging. So after knight takes queen, bishop takes check, queen takes, and you can regain your queen, but I think white might just be a piece down after that. Is there any rook takes f6? Doesn't seem like it. So we're expecting knight to f6 now. So, Barrish making sure. Is there anything else besides knight f6 that black can play over here? Bishop f6, I guess, is also a possibility. Knight f6 looks better to me, hitting the queen, nudging the queen on. Is Barrish just making sure, or are we missing anything? Bishop to f6. Okay, maybe there was something after knight f6 that I missed over here. Bishop f6 also seems to be doing the same function. So white is currently a rook down. He can get back an exchange, but then he will just end up being a piece down. And now after knight to g5, g6. Oh my word! What's happening? Here we go. Brilliant tactics by Cherwin. Queen takes h7. The rook was pinned. Bishop takes f7. Queen is hanging. And Cherwin is in business over here. Queen takes e3 check. King h1. The guys are scurrying here. So things are all of a sudden. White is 2 pawns up. The knight on g5 is hanging. But the black king is quite exposed. The knight on d7 is also potentially hanging in some lines. Queen g8 looks like it's a big threat. With queen e8. The rook on a8 is hanging. Can white go for the rook? He'll lose his bishop in the meantime. Queen takes b7 afterwards. Things are getting very messy, very interesting. Bishop takes g6. So Cherwin keeping the tension, threatening mate on f7, and using his rook to pin, using a lot of pieces. So queen to d5, stopping the mate. Maybe queen h8 check. This is a possibility, but then queen g8. Queen to g8, the rook takes f6 check. Yeah, that looks great. That should be winning. Queen g8, the rook takes f6 check. So queen g8 takes, queen check, and then the king is stuck, and it will be mate. So queen g8 doesn't work. King e7 allows queen takes a8. So it seems like white is in charge over here. He's up on the clock as well. So it seems like Cherwin is getting close to his first victory. Cherwin looks like he might get his first victory over here. Queen to g8. Does he see rook takes f6 check? Come on, you have to see it. Rook takes f6. Beautiful attack. And now he can just simplify. But let's see what he comes up with. He's got 18 seconds on the clock. Simplifies, but now his pieces are hanging slightly. Check. Bishop h5. Okay, so this doesn't look like the cleanest way he could have done it. And now he has to give up a piece. And now, technically still winning, but he still has some work to do now. There might be some issues with the knight and the rook. a4. Another pawn drops. He must be careful now. Uh-oh. So now he realizes to use the pawns, and the other pawns start marching. So I think white definitely must play to this, but he still has some hopes here. I think he should have been taking care of his pawns more. And the knight trying to cause some confusion. King f5. Now white needs to just start pushing his pawns over there. The rook's hanging. Rook f3. Okay, now we need to get going. I thought the h pawn. I thought maybe the h pawn up. h5. And white Cherwin gets his first win. Well done, Cherwin. What a game. What an attack. Okay, this is what it's all about, guys. Brilliant game. Let's check the rematch. So Cherwin gets his first win on the board. Brilliant stuff. And it's another Queen's Gambit over here. Let's see if they're going to go into a Slav again. And Barrish decides to go into some I think they call it Carlsbad setup. Sometimes white can go bishop d3 and knight ge2. So the score right now, ladies and gentlemen, is 4-2 in Barrish's favor. We ended the Rapids with 3-1, and then Barrish scored the first victory in the 5 minutes game, so it made it 4-1, and then Cherwin just came back with his first win here with 4-2 now, and we're entering the third game of the 5.1 games. So, yeah, I think maybe we should leave the games like this. I think after, when we have the break, then we'll turn around and get the viewpoint from the Barrish game. So White has an isolated pawn. He's got some activity. A knight in the middle. There's a pin as well. Black seems a bit awkward over here. If Black can stabilize, he can maybe fight against the isolated pawn. But let's see what White can do in the meantime with his slight initiative. Knight e5. Okay, so seems like the knight is not protected well enough, but this guy over here, when he captures, he will be leaving his partner over there in trouble. And White has got two pieces here, applying pressure on this knight. So Black seems a bit awkward over here. I think Black might have some issues over here, because White can even just capture the knight next. Knight takes, knight is not possible. If bishop takes, then the king will be busted open. With knight takes next. So Black has some stuff to sort out right now. We would much rather have the c7 bishop on e7. So what now? Pawn to g5 seems like an effort to just relieve the pressure or the pin. But now, is there a possible sacrifice on g5? Or should we just drop back to g3 and try to expose this weaknesses around the king in the long run? So White goes in and sacrifices the knight for the pawn. Let's see what's going to happen over here. I don't think Black has many options over there. If he captures, bishop takes, and still there's some ideas of taking the knight, maybe after queen f3, and trying to expose this knight's lack of support. And with the open king and this bishop lurking around, you can also envision the white queen lurking closer as well. So knight takes knight on e5. What is White going to do here? Pawn takes pawn. Seems quite good for White. Pawn takes knight. There's something that I'm missing. After pawn takes knight, maybe pawn takes, but then just bishop takes. Not sure what Black is going for over here. Seems like Black is in trouble here. These Queen's Gambit Slav setups have not been working too great for Cherwin for this match thus far. He's going to have to recheck it, or he's going to have to switch over to something else. But the pace or the speed in which White has generated his attacks is not something that Black wants to think about. You at least want to get a decent game in here, and it seems like Black is in trouble. I might be jumping the gun over here, but let's see what happens. What can Black do? Black taking his time. This is it for him for this game right now. If he doesn't come up with something now, anything good, then it's over. Bishop g4, hitting the queen. So let's see. What should white do? White can be very responsible and just move the queen out of the way. Let's say queen c2 or something like that. Or he can decide to give black more to think of and play pawn to f3. Does that allow any funny business? I don't know. Queen c2 looks logical to me. So black is in all sorts of problems over here. What to do? The knight's hanging. If he captures this guy, then the pin would have just gotten worse. Knight d5. Bishop checks, so the king needs to get onto a dark square. Rook a d1 also coming. King can't go to h8, of course, because of knight f6 check, and then the queen drops. So black is basically forced to play king g7. And what happens after king g7? Maybe it's just knight e6 check. So I think black can't avoid the loss of the queen. Let's see if Barrish goes in for that. So Barry's taking his time here. He's got a minute extra on the clock. Might as well just make sure if he gets this victory, then he will have a nice lead. Current situation is 4-2 in Barish's favor, but if he gets this one, it becomes 5-2 with 5 games to go. So he goes for mate. He plays bishop g8. He goes for mate. And f5 is the only way to more or less stop it. Knight e6 check, and the queen is a goner. Nice tactical display there by Barrish. Now to just wrap it up. Okay, and that's that. All right, nice finish there by Daniel. So let's check the next one. This is the last of the 5.1 games. So Barrish decides to go with his beloved Sicilian again, Sicilian Khan. Is Cherwin going to repeat the G3 line? Yes, he does. So Barrish decides not to go for the knight ge7 way of development. He just goes in a very natural, classical knight f6, knight c6. And yeah, there's some tricks in these lines. If black doesn't pay attention, white usually puts the knight on c3 and goes rook e1, especially when, yes, so knight c3 and rook e1 is a dangerous way of playing it for white. But sometimes you have this knight d5 idea. And if black goes an early d6, then knight takes c6 is also a possibility with this bishop glaring down there. So let's see if Cherwin will go for this, or what setup will he choose. Knight to c3, okay. Pawn to b5 looks a bit too aggressive. I don't know. I was thinking more like pawn to e5 in that situation. Instead of a3, pawn to e5 could have been a big problem for black. So I think Cherwin might have missed something over there. b5 didn't look in place in that situation. So now black has developed his light squared bishop perfectly. And I think black is okay now. Not the most pressure that white could have applied in the position. So the 5 minutes and 1 second increment portion of the match is being played. This is the 4th game of that, and Barrish has won 2 of the 3 games. Cherwin won 1. So in the 5 minute section, it is 2-1, and overall it is 5-2 in Barrish's favor. So bishop f4, pawn to d6, and the knight feels quite snug there on e5. Doesn't seem like black has any issues. He'll play bishop e7, castle, play rook c8, and eventually throw in a knight on c4 as well. So bishop takes knight. That's a surprising decision. Usually you don't want to do that because now white is gonna have some dark squared problems long term wise. All of his dark squares is gonna be an issue. This bishop on f8 is a potential monster right now. The double pawns is actually very good. It looks like it's bad if you haven't looked at this structure or played this opening before, but these double pawns do quite a good job covering a lot of squares in the middle. So white's ideas of playing f4 is out of the window because of the dark squares. His pawn is blocked on the light square, which means this bishop is not good. So white is left with a bad bishop. Black has the freedom of utilizing all of these dark squares. By the way, b4 is also a possibility. Rook d8 or rook c8. Yeah, I think that was not a good decision to give up his bishop for the knight. This is exactly what black wants in these types of positions. So, yeah, Cherwin needs to do something very urgently. So white is under pressure. What to do? Let's see. Where does the knight go? I must admit I don't like white's position over here. Knight can maybe drop back like this. This actually reminds me of a game I played at the African individuals in Namibia quite a while ago, maybe 5 years, 6 years ago. I played against the player known as GM Fear, Joseph Mwale. We had a game like this, very similar, where he also came in the double pawns in the Sicilian type of structure, in the Sicilian opening. And it was a tough fight, but eventually I came on top. I ended up on top. But yeah, the dark squares in the long run is just not nice for white to handle. Okay, so it's very easy play here for black. What is the playing schedule? Our next match is scheduled for 6:30 this evening. We've had some delays with the start of this match, so it might be pushed slightly back depending on when we end. This match is already almost 5 o'clock. So we'll try to get the match going by 7. So that's for tonight. So we have 2 quarterfinal matches for the day. And there comes more problems for white with the skewer over there. And things are not looking good here for white. So that's for today. Tomorrow we have another 2. Tomorrow we have another 2 quarterfinal matches, same time scheduled, 3 p.m. and also 6:30 p.m. So that is for today and tomorrow. Our match tonight is also another very interesting matchup. Tonight we have Michael James, the marvelous Michael James, playing against international master David Gluckman. So that's our battle for this evening. Barrish being very colorful here with his tactics, showing what he can do. I think Cherwin should be resigning at any moment. Either that or his time is going to run up. So what is the actual situation right now? Rook, knight, bishop. So white has a rook and a knight for a queen, but is also a couple of pawns down. Pass pawn is really going to be a headache for white. White is on 1.4 seconds. And his time runs up. Okay, so let's get the players. Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Cherwin, can you unmute your mic over there? Okay, tough match, guys. Very tough. So what's the score look like? Just hang on there over here. I'm going to just show before I show to the public over here. What can you guys tell me? How are you feeling right now? Let's start with Cherwin this time. Cherwin, how are you feeling? What's going on?
A little disappointed.
Yeah, and where do you think are you throwing it away? What has been not working for you?
I don't know. I think I'm just looking to it.
It seemed like with the black pieces you were having some problems. I think you were getting some decent games in with the white pieces initially, but the black pieces you had some issues there. Castling in the first 5-minute game. Daniel came through with a very nice move, knight d5. And then the other black game also you had some problems early. So I think that kind of let you down over there. But so 4 games to go, 1 point each. Let's see what's the score. And Daniel, what do you say about the match before we get to the score?
mean, I think there's definitely a lot of room for improvement for me. I'm playing too slowly to start. Getting good positions, but also just messing up later on. So playing too slowly. Also, my black games have been struggling for at least some of them. Like the Scandinavian one was quite not great.
Wait, okay, all right. So Daniel's saying that with his black games, he was not getting exactly what he wanted, and his time management also a bit slow. So something to think about. So guys, let's. I'm gonna give you a 5-minute breather. I'm gonna show the score quickly to the viewers, and then we're gonna take a 5-minute breather. And then I will just call you, or just hang on this line, and then I'll talk to you just now. Let me just show the score to everybody. All right. So just mute everything here, and I'll unmute when I talk to you. Okay, guys. So let's quickly look at the scoreboard. So that's the score currently. The score is 6-2 in Daniel's favor. The Rapid went well for him over there with a victory and 1 draw, scoring 3 points. Cherwin getting 1 out of the Rapid with that draw. And then when it comes to the 5-minute point with 1 second increment section, 4 games was played, and Barrish won 3 out of the 4, and Cherwin winning very nice one with the white pieces with some sublime tactics. So Cherwin really needs to bounce back now. In fact, the score is 6-2 with 4 3-minute with 1 second increment games coming up. So practically speaking, Cherwin needs to win all 4 3-minute games in order to equalize the match. If the score is equal, we will have a tie-break system in place for that. But we will discuss that a bit more when we get closer to that scenario. So for now, we are going to take a small break. We'll take about 5 to 6 minutes break. Don't go away because the exciting section of the show is coming now with the 3 minutes with 1 second increment. So let's see if Cherwin can bounce back. But for now, we'll see you shortly.